Right now, the world is so incredibly crazy. Every time you turn on the news, there is new breaking news. There are so many people who are in positions where they truly believed when they started their careers that this would be it for them forever. There are people who have jobs that they truly thought of as dependable. But that's not what we're really seeing right now. And what happens when you're in that space? Or what happens when a work environment that you absolutely love turns toxic? What do you do? How do you transition out of that space into something else? Well, today I have a guest who is going to help you guys in that space. And how do we transition into that next level, that next thing? I have Miss Stefanie Runyen here. Hey, my love. Say hi to everyone.
Hello.
And I adore her. I have enjoyed building a relationship with her because she truly has a heart for service. And I knew I had to have her on the show. You guys know my name is LaShay LaRue, and I am your business coach for this season of growth, where we are going to help you in entrepreneurship now on how to track those aligned clients, build better systems, convert consistently, and scale to meet all of your goals. And Stefanie, I want you to go ahead and tell the audience a little bit more about your business and exactly how you help in that transitional period.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me. I am super excited to be here. Um, so what I do is I work with professionals who are in career transition for whatever that reason, whether it's downsize or layoffs or they're sick of the corporate grind. Then I help walk them through a journey of discovery on other possibilities that are out there that I didn't know existed when I went through the process, and a lot of my clients don't know, what all is available for people who are in career transition. And so I help guide them through that. It's all about education, and it's a very safe space.
I love that. I absolutely love that because it is something that is needed. It is so scary to be in that unknown place of what am I going to do next and trying to figure it all out on your own. And I know when I was in a place where I needed to transition, I had to do it alone, right? That's exactly why we have this show, so that we no longer have to go through these things alone. But I did it alone then because I never knew there was a Stefanie. I never knew that was an option. So tell me, how did you come into this work? How did you get started in this space?
So my coach reached out to me through LinkedIn, and well, my 1.0 was I had worked at the same company for over 30 years. And I walked in one day and my boss told me that we were no longer going in the same direction and that I didn't have a job anymore. So that was a blow because I thought I was going to be at that job for the rest of my life. And but I knew I wasn't happy. So it was okay. So I put my information out on LinkedIn and my coach reached out to me and he showed me this new world of exploration of what a job could look like versus what a job has to be. And so as we went through the process, God was guiding me because I had put all these resumes out. I was in finance. I had put all these, different things out and nothing was happening. And I was like, I've got all this experience. Why is nothing nothing going my way? And the whole time I was going through this journey of discovery. So once we got into it a little deeper, I started telling my friends and family about what I was doing. And I kept saying, I want God to have this big open door with flashing lights and kick me through it so that, I would know that this is truly the way that I'm supposed to be going. And I ran into a friend of mine and she said, Stefanie, you need to look at the doors that are closing. You don't need to look at the doors that are opening. You need to pay attention to what direction does he not want you to go. And so I took that to heart, and it totally changed the way I went about learning about how I was listening better to what God wanted me to do and the direction that he wanted me to go. And so it's just been it's all glory to God, because he without him I would never have done this. And it's scary starting out. It's not, you know, a bed of roses, and it's hard. But if you have the faith that God will be right there with you in your business, then I believe that anybody can do it.
You know what, you guys, if you haven't noticed already, that is also another one of my favorite things about this amazing, beautiful woman. She is one of my fellow sisters in faith. And yes, 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 to everything that you just said. I was talking to someone just the other day, and we were just talking about how if you ever want to know the true meaning of the words, let go and let God, start a business. Jesus, take the
Oh,
wheel, start a business. You will
yeah.
wholeheartedly, fully learn how the miracles of the Bible isn't the last time that God did miracles, right? Like there are everyday thing that God does in our lives that help to make clear the path that he is laying for us. And most often when he is giving you the big flashy lights, it's not usually about what's in front of you. It's about where you came from, because there were these little hints he gave you that we were like, that's nice for later. That's nice for later. We don't pay attention to those things, those opportunities that happen along the way. But when the door closes, well, that's devastating, right? That's you have no choice but to pay attention. And yeah, God is very good at that. He will make you very uncomfortable to push you out of that comfort zone and into your true calling. And I love that you answered that calling. That was very similar to my own story, right? God had to make me super uncomfortable with my past job situation for me to just say, you know what, God, I give it all to you. And I'm going to lean on you in this season. And whatever you have for me, that is what I am going to do. So I love that you did that to get into this business. Now, you though went a different route. You didn't just try to bootstrap, figure it all out on my own. You bought a system. And I want you to tell the audience a little bit more about that.
Yes. So I am a franchise business owner, and there was already, it's almost like a turnkey business. The systems are in place. Um, the programs are there, the how you should do the certain things are there, but it's just guardrails. It allows me to bring Stefanie into the business, my personality and how I do things. And but it starts you out on the right track right off the bat. So you are buying the system. You are it's a proven system. The franchise that I ended up going to is been around for over 40 years. And we the people at the Entrepreneur Source, the different coaches, have helped thousands of people be able to start their own job, be self-sufficient, which is our huge, goal. What can you do to become self-sufficient? Because 75% of Americans want to be self-sufficient. They don't want to cling to a W-2 job necessarily to pave their way. But 5% are the ones that actually do it. And so the system is, it works. We know that it works. And I work with a whole over 250 brands that but it's not all about that. our system starts with just trying to get to the crux of what is going to make you happy. We call it the ILWE, the income, lifestyle, wealth, and equity goals that our seekers have out of the gate. What does that look like? What do you want that to look like? I talk a lot about lifestyle. How many hours do you currently work a week? Do you work 80 hours a week and you'd rather work 50? Or what does that look like? So it's all about getting down to the base of what my seekers are looking for. And if that is a W-2 position, great, we celebrate that. We call that a moment of clarity. Or is that moment of clarity, you know what? I'm going to look at different business models and see what's out there. It's just education. It's free. I am free to my clients. So that's the other big gift that I get to give. I have lots of resources that I share that are free. And so it's just about being open-minded and learning. So if you're a lifelong learner, I love those clients because they love to figure out what's out there that I didn't know about before.
I love that you are providing alternatives because we are also in a stage in our history where there are several communities that are having record levels of degrees because they are lifelong learners and they love the achievement and the thrill of that achievement. But one thing that school doesn't teach you is the implementation of all those things that you have learned. And even in the business structure that you have chosen to go with, it's also showing an alternative because a lot of times people think of entrepreneurship is the bootstrap version. I'm going to try to turn this idea into a business, and they don't fully know what they're getting themselves into when they go that route. But what else do you do? And when most people think of franchising, they think of McDonald's
Yep.
or
Fast food and French fries.
or Starbucks. Exactly. And there are so many other options outside of that. And one thing I did want to highlight too is you mentioned clarity and you providing clarity to people to figure out what their opportunities are and what makes the most sense for them, because clarity is another one of those words that we throw out there, but it's very abstract. And I love that you're making the abstract tangible. So for those who maybe prior to this conversation had never really thought that franchising could be something for them, talk a little bit more about that and what the opportunities are in that space.
So there are 80 industries. We work with a select few, like 280, I think, brands, and they have to go through our process of learning about educating our clients and not pushing. We are not selling anything, we're educating. We want our clients to understand that there is no pressure. This is just a possibility. We call it being possibilities mindset and open-minded to, could this work for me? It's very important that, and we work with a couple of restaurant types, but not any of the big ones. But it's not about the brands. It's more about the business model and what business model is going to be right for you. So for me, the right business model was sole entrepreneur. I wanted to be able to work virtually forever. So because that was going to change the way that the rest of my life went, as far as being able to pick up my computer and go and be able to take my job with me wherever we might end up. If we want to go on vacation and I need to work a few days, I can do that. So it's about, do you want to scale? Do you want to get bigger? Do you want to leave a legacy for your children? Do you want to start a business with your children? What does that look like? there are so many different ways that the franchise can come into your life that you just don't think of. A lot of the vans that are wrapped, the service vans, a lot of those are franchises. And you don't think of that you as a franchise. You just think of it as a business. But they already have the marketing figured out. They've got the systems figured out. They've got the computer programs figured out. They've got how to hire employees figured out. And so you go in, you learn how to do these things, and you turn it around and you're able to do it. Not about knowing about the business. It's about being able to follow a system and being able to turn that into a to being self-sufficient and being able to work for yourself, but not by yourself.
Systems are absolutely everything. Systems are the difference between success and failure. Systems are the difference between you having a business that does really well for a year, but does not exist in 5 years. And the vast majority of businesses that start do not make it past that 5 year mark. And being able to have an opportunity, you guys, where the whole system is already built, proven to be successful, and you just kind of have to execute, because you can have all the systems in the world, but if you never turn the system into an actual like execution, it doesn't matter, right? So tell me a little bit more about your experience as a franchisee, where you have the system and what it really took for you to execute and what you've learned through that process.
So I had great training. And the brands that we work with all have extremely good training with the franchise. And so I did quite a bit, a couple of months of computer training, not all day, but and then I went in to be on site at their corporate headquarters for a week and trained with them directly. And it was, they have that down. There is a system for training. There is a system for everything. And the nice part about it is it is working for yourself, but not by yourself. I have never been in a company or in a work environment that's so supportive. I can call any of my fellow coaches and be like, hey, I'm having problems with ABC. What would you suggest? This is what I'm doing. How would you tweak this? What are you doing that might make this better? So a lot of my networking is on LinkedIn, and I was having some troubles with that. And I was like, what is wrong? And I reached out to a fellow coach, and he was amazing. Thank you, Darren. And he talked about how I needed to put myself into the system, and I needed to be more me, and my messages need to be more me, so that I relay what I want in the right way, so that when you're talking to me, that it doesn't sound totally different than the message that you've received on LinkedIn. Whereas it's more me. I care. I Customer service was my favorite part of my, we call it YouTube 1.0, and or my first career 1.0. And it's about learning how the systems are there, and I love the customer service part of my first job, so it's relayed into my new career. And I love to help people. My whole goal is to help people who are just like me, who are blindsided. I'm happy to help anybody, but I do have a heart for the ones who have been blindsided and have lost their jobs with no no upfront discussion, no nothing. I
Yeah.
literally walked in.
There are
So
a lot of people who are in that space right now, and that is the main reason why I wanted to have you on the show, because my heart goes out to those individuals, those people who thought that they had a stable career, and there are things that are happening that are 1000% out of their control. There's nothing that they can do about it. And the majority of America is living paycheck to paycheck. And I'm talking, even if the check is sizable, you still are reliant on that next check just for you to maintain your family's lifestyle. And that's a really scary place to be in. It really and truly is. Now, there's one thing that you've alluded to multiple times. It's about the community that you got as a part of your franchise, but also your activity in seeking mentorship. That's kind of the thing that brought you in. So tell me a little bit more about that, about the value of community and mentorship.
there's no way I could do what I do without my community, without my fellow coaches. I have a business coach. I talk to my class. We have a class that went through training together, and we are constantly having a chat that talks about, hey, are you having troubles with this? Are you so the support. And I also feel like it's a God thing. Like God put me into a situation where I have a lot of support because I was beaten down in my first career, to where I felt like I wasn't worthy, that I wasn't smart enough, that I wasn't tough enough, that I wasn't fast enough, all of these things. And my community has um, convinced me that I am. I am fast enough. It's fine. I be who you are, and that's good enough. It's good enough for God. It's good enough for my clients.
Amen, amen, amen. We forget how powerful the statement I am is, and what we're truly declaring when we say that. When God was speaking to Moses and he said, "Who should I tell them sent me?" He said, "Tell them I am that I am." It is so powerful. And a lot of times, even when for those of us who read the word, we read right past that.
Mhm.
Whenever you're saying something about yourself, that is a declaration, right? You were created in his image. And we do have to think about how we think about ourselves. Most people are definitely afraid of the criticism that they will get from other people. However, their biggest critic is themselves.
Yep.
Themselves. I deal with so many clients on the coaching side where they deal with these doubts. We all, and I'm talking very successful entrepreneurs, but they deal with imposter syndrome.
Oh,
They
yes.
deal with thinking that they are just not enough. The self-doubt weighs so heavy on their shoulders because they think that their good works has to come from just their actions, right?
Mhm.
But the second that we realize that we are just the stewards of these businesses, God is the owner, okay? We may not be enough, but he always is. He absolutely always is. And I know for me in my business, that was transformational because I carried so much of that exact same weight that my own clients deal with, just not feeling like I am enough, who am I to apply for this particular role or this particular contract? Who am I to go after this client? No one's going to want to hear from me. And once I realized that, you know what? I'm going to lean into the calling that God gave me. right? And truly knowing that as long as I'm leaning into what God has called me to do, I know He's there beside me, fully supporting me, and He is always enough. And try not to tear up right now because that is truly my favorite part of what it is that I do right now. And that's the thing that has always attracted me to you and being a fellow sister in Christ and believing in that way. So tell our audience a little bit more about how you're able to embody your faith in this professional world, because so much of what we're taught is the opposite of that. You're supposed to leave that faith at the door. Like, even us having this conversation, there are people who consider this to be taboo. Like, how are you talking about business and God? And they would make that face, right? So tell me about how you push past all the noise and how you embody your faith in your business.
So that's a great question. And when I went through my dismissal, it really was a wake up that I needed to listen better. I had actually been looking for a job, ish, for a couple of years. And I did not work in his time, I think is what finally was the problem. And he's like, all right, you're not taking charge. We're gonna we're gonna make you uncomfortable. And so from that point, I was like, okay, we are in this, we're doing this, and I'm going to listen, and I'm going to try to do as you are guiding. And it was huge to have that in my build up to deciding to buy a business. I prayed about it. Okay, what are we doing here? What am I making the right move? Am I not? You know, maybe I am, maybe I'm not, but this is the direction that I feel like I'm being pulled in. I love being able to um meet my clients where they are. So if they need a cheerleader in getting through whatever they're going through, I love to do that. If they just need a sounding board, someone to just I'm able to do that as well. So God being in my business, um I watched a sermon the other day that was about inviting God into your business, and that, you know, you've got to do that. As
Yeah.
Christians, we need to do that and have God in our business and go, okay, I'm going to trust in you. We're doing this. And just have the faith that if there is a failure, that that's a lesson to be learned, not that you have failed. A failure doesn't mean you have failed. It means let's do this a little different next time.
Mm-hmm.
Little wake up call, little, we need to listen. And so God's always been a part of my business. And you're right. I love that you talk about that it's taboo, and that people don't like to talk about it. But the other thing about my community in the franchise that I'm in is they are very, God plays a part for sure in the organization itself. And I think that's important. I think that, you know, I had a discussion with the coach just the other day, and we started talking about different sermons and different things, and how God leads you in certain ways. And it's nice to be able to do that and it not be taboo.
Yes, it is nothing like finding your community, your tribe, and finally experiencing true acceptance. That is the absolute beauty of community. And it's another one of those words that we throw out there and we use all the time, but in reality, we're not experiencing real community because most of us are not showing up as our most authentic selves in these communities, in these groups, right? Instead, we're going through the motions, right? But we're not leaving an impact, and not we're not receiving an impact or transformation. And true community should do exactly that. True community should allow you to partake in the group and build up others, but also be built up in yourself. And I want to encourage everybody who is listening right now, seek community. You guys, do not try to do this on your own. Now, you've heard her mention she is a coach who also has several coaches. I myself am a coach who also has invested so much money, I will never tell you because I'm a little embarrassed, on coaching. But you do that because, I mean, why does LeBron James have a coach, right? There's something to it. It's not about whether or not you know all the things or you're knowledgeable or you can. It's not about that, right? It's about having someone who has built systems for themselves to help in a specific area, who can look from the outside in, right? Now that's one thing. But what we're talking about with community is something totally different, right? Networking events can be a version of it, but be conscious of the places that you are choosing to show up and where you're choosing to put your time in. That is how I met the lovely Miss Stefanie, because she came to my Led by Faith networking event for sisters in Christ in business. And when we attend that group, it's always so much fun. Why?
So
Because everybody has a chance to show up as their most authentic self. So, Steph, can you tell the audience a little bit more about what your experience was with even attending an event like Led by Faith?
it was amazing. It was just absolutely amazing. And to be able to meet like-minded women who are strong and confident, and that you can say it's a safe space. You can say, I need help with, and they're all doing everything they can to help you with whatever that might be that you're struggling with. And it was, it has been one of the big changes in my business. It was huge. It made a huge difference in my business, just being able to go and know that there's other women who are going through this journey. I'm not alone. I had never owned a business before this. Um, jumped in 2 feet, and everyone's story is just a testimony to
Yeah,
the good that can happen if you
yeah,
just have faith and believe. And it's when you were talking about community, there's a couple of questions that I ask about community. And what does community mean? Because community means different things to
yeah.
every person. So I like to figure out, what is your community? Is your community the city that you live in? Is your community your business coworkers? Is your community your family? Is it a combination? What does community actually mean? And community can mean so many different things. And it's whatever community is to you that is important.
Yes. Yes, that is so important to know what community means for you. And that was one of the big reasons why I started Led by Faith, because I wanted community and I knew what I wanted it to be, but I didn't see that anywhere else. I didn't see anyone else hosting something that really felt like what I needed in that space, in that phase of life and business. And that's the reason why I created it. So I want to encourage you guys as well. I'm nothing special, right? The success of Led by Faith, I promise you guys, it is not me. It is all him. I give all glory to him, because when I first started Led by Faith, I just, it was like a calling that God put in my heart. It's like, okay, you had this idea, you need to do this thing, and I did it. And all the way up until the minute of the first one started, I was like, there's going to be nobody here, but I'm going to have a good time if it's just me, if it's just two people. And it ended up being the complete opposite. And it's grown month after month. And I've hosted all different types of events. So when I tell you this is truly God's work, God moving and doing these things, I wholeheartedly mean that. And you're 1,000% right that one of my favorite parts of it is the stories, because you get to see so many different women and you realize truly, like, not just that you're not alone in business and entrepreneurship, but in all the different phases of it, right? Things that you experienced that you thought was just, granted, everybody's story is unique, but there are commonalities that everybody kind of deals with, that there's a little bit of a weight that happens when you realize, oh, you struggle with imposter syndrome too? Me too. Let's talk this thing out. Like, how did you push past that? Oh, you're struggling with lead generation? Me too. Let's talk this thing out. Let's figure out, like, what has worked for you, what didn't work for you, and we're figuring it out together. And it is a beautiful experience. It is a beautiful process. So if you're watching this, please seek community, whether it is in your local city, state, or it's happened on Eventbrite, and searching for topics and things that you're interested in all business industries and all business genres. That is my biggest recommendation, right? It's a version or a variation of networking, but in my opinion, it is the best version of networking, because real relationships are actually built in those times. And if you don't see it, build it. Don't procrastinate on it. Don't wait on it. Actually go out there and build it. Now, I know we are coming up on the end of our time, but there's just one more thing that I want to kind of touch on for our audience, because there are some people who are like, community is great, system is great, but then they're not going to do it for you, right? When it comes to lead generation, when it comes to outreach, when it comes to all those things, you do still physically have to do it. And one thing that you mentioned that I want to circle back to that you use is LinkedIn, which I'm a LinkedIn girly. It's one of my favorite platforms. So I want you to just talk to the audience a little bit more about how LinkedIn fits inside of your business and how you're using it.
Absolutely. So LinkedIn Recruiter is what I use. And I go out and I filter. I have a couple of different filters that I use, but um, I filter for professionals who've been in their industry for, a certain period of time. And because a lot of who I talk to are professionals who are burned out of the corporate mindset. They are done with, doing the things for the boss and not having any say on, because these are people who have been in their industries for an extended period of time and know their businesses, but they are not given the freedom to make those businesses work the way that they could possibly work if they would listen to
Yes.
their employees. And so I go in and I look at how long they've been in their position and how long they've been at their current position, because burnout is real. It is true.
Yes, it is.
And I also look for people who are open to work and recently open to work, individuals who have recently lost their jobs for whatever reason. Um, the other day, I talked to a guy who quit his job. He was like, I am done. I am doing something different. He's working on something different, but he had no idea what that is yet. So we're working through that. And, there are financial, a lot of people don't have that ability, but he did. And he was like, I'm done. I'm going to have to do something at some point, but I have enough of a nest egg that I'm able to throw this away for now and look into what I want to do for the rest of my career.
I absolutely love that. I love that you are intentional in how you're showing up on LinkedIn. You're not just sitting there and just clicking on profiles and trying to fall down the rabbit hole, even though there is an extension or a variation of that that we all must do. But I want you guys to know that LinkedIn is such a powerful tool. It is absolutely such a powerful tool. So if you've never used it, make this your sign that you need to involve it, right? Test it out, and you'll be very surprised in what it can do for your business. Stefanie, I want to thank you for your transparency. I want to thank you for your time. I want to thank you for your faith. And I want to thank my audience for your time as well. As always, I'm going to make sure that you guys have all of her contact information in the show notes so that you can reach out to her. Because if you are in that transitional phase or you're just curious, you never even knew that franchising was an option, she's going to be your go-to person for that, you guys. And if you were curious about the Led by Faith event, we have it on the last Thursday of every month, and I'll make sure to include that link as well. That is a call out to all of my fellow sisters in faith and business. It is open to everyone, so it doesn't matter what country you are in, what city, what state. Everybody, every woman in business in faith is welcome to that. We had at the last one lady was from Dubai, and we had someone else who was from I should be better with my locations, but we have people from all over. So we want to expand that. We want to have more of that. And until next time, bye my cherished loves.
Thank you.